You are listening to The Confidence Project, episode number 147. Welcome to The Confidence Project. I am your host, certified life coach Lærke Nielsen, and I help smart women who doubt themselves calm their overthinking brain so they can stop hiding in the background and instead speak up and take confident action. In this podcast, we are shifting your identity. You're becoming a woman who believes in yourself and who wants to live her best life starting today. Welcome back to the podcast. You guys, I went for a run yesterday. That was the first time in 5 years, and I was expecting to wake up this morning feeling completely sore, but luckily, I feel totally fine. When I was running, I was thinking about recording this episode, and it's gonna be a bit of a personal episode where I will share with you some experiences I had, because this can be applied to so many other situations in life. And I feel that it's always more illustrative and makes more sense when I can show you a real world example of how to use a certain tool or how to apply a certain mindset. Because this is about choosing your mindset and having unexpected bonuses that you can get from choosing a positive and empowering mindset in any given situation. And in this case here, we're talking about challenges that you did not choose yourself, something that life threw at you. So I'm going to start by taking you back to 2021, because I clearly remember the last run I had before I just had to stop it. And honestly, I thought I was never going back to running again. I went running along the Seine here in Paris, and it was a Friday morning in May. And all of a sudden, I started having a lot of pain in my right hip. And it was not just the kind of pain where you can feel this is going to go away if you just continue running. You have to run it away because you're not warm enough or something like that. I could feel it was a different kind of pain. And it kept hurting, and the pain became more and more intense, and I simply had to stop. So not only did I have to stop and walk home, I was limping all the way home. And I was a bit shocked by this and also worried because I could feel this is not healthy. There's something really seriously wrong here. So after that, month followed with physiotherapy and back and forth to the doctor and different physiotherapists and trying different anti-inflammatory cures and different kind of exercises. And nothing really helped. And then finally, by the end of August, I got a diagnosis. I found another doctor and she sent me to a clinic to do both an MRI and a CT scan. And the doctor told me that you have osteoarthritis and it's actually quite progressed. So you better prepare yourself that you're going to have surgery soon. Now, that was a message that just didn't land in my brain. I was 51 and I never had issues like that. And I was just not open to receiving that message. For me, osteoarthritis was an old person disease, and having a new hip was something you do when you're 85 or something like that, not 51. I remember my brain completely shut down, almost like it said, no, I can't hear this. You can't be serious. I'm too young. This is not happening to me. It's not fair. There must be other solutions. There must be something else I can do. So looking back, I can say that this is a moment in my life where the fact that I had the tools of life coaching really made a huge difference, because I knew at that time, it was very clear to me that I now had a choice in how I wanted to think about this circumstance and how I wanted to approach the situation. I knew that I didn't necessarily have to go with the first input my brain gave me, which I would have done in the past. And so the circumstance of having this diagnosis is in its nature just neutral. It's a neutral circumstance. And I know this can maybe sound strange, but until you have a thought, until you decide whether it's good or bad or something in between, it's a neutral circumstance. And so I knew I had a choice between falling into victimhood and feeling sorry for myself and thinking this is not fair and it's too early, I'm too young, I shouldn't be going through this now. Or I could choose something else. I could choose another path. And of course, my initial reaction was to feel sorry for myself. I'm not just a life coach, I'm also human. So I think it took a couple of weeks where I really just had to process everything. I felt that it was not fair and that I'm too young to have a new hip. and I wasn't open to going through surgery and all that. But I also thought about what is another approach? How do I really want to think about this? When all the dust has settled and I sort of have processed the whole thing in my brain, how do I really want to think about this? How do I want to approach it? What is it that I can choose instead of the victim mindset? What can I choose that feels better for me? What will feel more empowering? And who do I want to be in this situation? I could decide to become an expert in how to manage my pain. I could find out what is it that induces the pain and when is it worst? What can relieve it? What are the things I can do in my lifestyle that can optimize my situation? And what are the things I can try in terms of exercises or stretching, sleep, nutritionals, and also, of course, what are the painkillers that work the best and that I tolerate the best? And what are the alternatives I can try before I go to surgery? Now, if you don't know what osteoarthritis is, this is a disease where the cartilage is broken down, and the cartilage is the material that sits in all our joints between the bones. It's a kind of shock absorbent that allows us to move and walk smoothly without pain. So when you have no more cartilage, well, you get a lot of pain because then you walk bone against bone. And in the process of when the cartilage breaks down, you also have a lot of pain. I was in pain when trying to fall asleep, and I would wake up at night with very intense pain. I also had pain when walking, and sometimes I even had pain just sitting still. And for me, it was periods of 3 to 4 months at a time where I had a very intense pain, and then it would relieve a bit, but it was never 0. It was always minimum 3 to 4 on a scale of 10, and sometimes it was 7 or 8. I was actually quite surprised to find out how painful it is. I knew osteoarthritis was painful, but I never imagined that it was this bad. And so as I had a couple of weeks to think about this and get used to the idea of now having to live with pain as a new circumstance of my life, I decided to be this woman who was in a great shape, like try to do all the exercises that can help, try to maximize all the things that I can do and really get to know everything about my pain and what works and what doesn't work. And I decided to take up swimming and to go biking more, walking, lifting weights and using a heat cushion or a heat patch, stretching a lot, eating all kinds of soy products to get the plant estrogens, as I had heard that could help as well, and go to a physiotherapist to get massage and exercises, and also go to an osteopath to mobilize the joints. So I tried many different things, and I would say what worked the best for me was exercises. So doing exercises on a yoga mat, half an hour or 40 minutes every morning. So that could sound like a lot, but if you have a lot of pain and you experience that this is one thing that works, and it often works even better than taking medicine, I promise you, you will do that. You find the time to do it. So this made me feel a little bit more in control, and I managed the pain for a while. Although it did become more and more intense with time, of course, the disease is progressing, and I was limping all the time, and sometimes I really had excruciating pain in my leg all the way to my knee. And as it turned out, it was actually a rapidly progressing osteoarthritis. They also call it speed arthrose here in France. So this is a version of osteoarthritis where you lose all the cartilage in a very short time. So I lost around 1 millimeter every 6 months. Every time I went to get an x-ray, I had lost 1 millimeter, and we have around 4 millimeters in total. So you can figure out you can't wait 10 years to have the surgery. And so I remember when I went to the radiologist to get an x-ray in November 2023, she looked at it and she compared with my previous image and she said, you probably should prepare yourself to have the surgery next year. And so that's when I decided, okay, now it's time. Now it's time for me to prepare myself mentally for this. And I started to look for information and Facebook groups with people who had gone through the surgery and speak to people who had had this experience themselves, which was in many cases actually very reassuring. So long story short, I got the first surgery in 2024 and the second by the end of 2025. And the first one, it didn't actually go so well in the sense that my leg was prolonged, and that led to back pain and pain from stretching of the muscles and the ligaments and nerves and so on. So at the time I got the second surgery on the other hip, I was in so much pain. And I wasn't expecting to be pain-free just like that after the surgery because, you're exchanging one hip and it doesn't necessarily mean that you don't have pain in your back anymore or that the muscle pain in the right side would go away. But everything went really well after that second surgery. So in early 26, as I also talked about in another episode, I could go for a walk and feel what it's like to walk without pain. Something like really simple for most people, but that was totally mind-blowing to re-experience that. It was almost like I forgot what it felt like. And now it's been 2.5 months since I started walking without crutches, and I'm back in the gym. I'm doing a lot of biking, and also I had the green light from my surgeon to go running. I was so happy when he said I could do that because I never thought I would be able to run again. So that in itself is so awesome, and I feel super pumped about that. So I'm just so eager to go running as much as possible. Of course, I know I need to be careful because I don't want to have an injury from overtraining now. But the thing is, and this is maybe gonna sound a little bit crazy, the thing is, I think I actually have less back pain now than what I had before I had osteoarthritis. And that is because I am still doing my exercises, and I've been doing these exercises for 5 years now. I'm doing them every single morning because I realized they work so well. So some of the things I did to manage this disease, they actually have given me some bonuses that I still have now, and that makes it so that I am in a better shape than what I was before. I also feel that I have a better connection with my body. I used to be very much a cerebral type who didn't move much if I didn't have to. I did a lot of biking when I lived in Copenhagen, but that's a natural part of the lifestyle. I don't consider it to be exercise. I would take my bike to go basically everywhere. And when I had time off, I would rather just sit in front of a computer or read a book and not be so much into moving. But after I got the pain and started experiencing how much it helped to do exercises, it was something I just integrated in my life as a natural routine every morning. And I wouldn't want to skip it because now it feels like not having brushed my teeth or something. I really need my morning exercises as much as I need my coffee to feel okay and to be ready to start the day. And this is the kind of byproduct or bonus that you can get from a situation like this. The bonus you get when you choose a mindset where you go all in on making the best out of a shitty situation. So, my mentor and teacher, Brooke Castillo, she talks about the strategic byproducts in the context of setting goals. So, if you set a big goal and you go for it, you do everything you can to achieve that goal, even if you don't achieve it, you will change who you are during that process. On the journey, you will develop yourself, you will grow and learn a lot of things, and that is strategic byproducts. You come out on the other side with something extra, you get a bonus, whether you achieve the goal or not. And it's the same even if it's not actually a goal that you set on purpose or a challenge that you choose for yourself. You can still decide to approach it in a way that optimizes both the journey and the outcome for you. When we set a goal, it's always something exciting, right? It's something that we want to achieve. We choose it on purpose. But as I said before, sometimes life gives us challenges that we didn't choose. Like, I didn't choose to have osteoarthritis in a young age, and you could be in a situation where you got fired from your job, for instance. You didn't choose that either. This is a challenge and it's a difficult situation, not your own choice. Or it could be that your partner wants to break up or divorce you, and this is also something you didn't choose. It's not a goal you set, and it's not a challenge you decided to do. So there are things we cannot decide here in life, but we can always decide how to approach it. We can decide the mindset that we want to have when we go through this challenge or try to overcome this challenge. And this is something nobody can take away from you. You can choose who you want to be and how you want to show up for yourself. What is the kind of woman you want to be going through this challenge? And that can give you a much better journey and also eventually give you some of these bonuses, the unexpected bonuses, because you did your best. And you can take it to the next level if you're ready. You can even choose to approach it as if it was a challenge you had decided yourself. As if This was a goal that you set, and you want to do your best to overcome this challenge in the best possible way and with the best possible outcome. And I know this can be difficult to wrap your mind around in the beginning, especially if you find a situation very unfair. Someone else decided for you. Someone decided you are no longer needed at work, for instance, or your partner wants to break up with you. It can be difficult to just turn it around and say, yeah, I will pretend it's a challenge I gave myself. But once you have processed the news and you have taken a moment to feel sorry for yourself and feel frustrated and grief and all the things, like I also did in the beginning, and I know we all go through this when we have bad news and we all have a human brain. Once you have done that and you had a moment to reflect, then you can actually decide, okay, I'm going to be the kind of woman who overcomes challenges. I'm going to decide how I will approach this. Who will I be in this situation? So let's say you're going through a breakup or a divorce. What if you decided to be the kind of woman that your ex will regret leaving? You are thriving. You are the best version of yourself. You look gorgeous. You have an amazing life. Not like tomorrow or something, but set that as a goal. This is something you want to achieve for yourself. I'm going to get through this. I'm going to get to the other side in such an empowering way. I'm going to support myself 100%. I'm going to love myself all the way through this. And I'm going to redefine myself. I'm going to decide what is the woman I want to be on the other side. And I'm going to be such an amazing woman that if my ex ever runs into me, he will regret. He will regret he left me. That's how amazing I'm going to be. Or you could also imagine if it was a job. You lost your job. Instead of thinking of this as such an unfair thing that happened and now you're a victim and you're powerless, you could decide to say, this was just the push I needed to start something new. I want to start something new that's even more interesting, even better for me. I want to reinvent myself. And I'm so excited to see what I will come up with. I'm going to give myself some time to think about what would be interesting for me. Right now, all options are open. All doors are open, and I can't wait to see what I come up with. I'm going to surprise everyone, including myself, by doing something completely new. And it's going to invigorate me and make me feel so much more alive than I did in my old job. Now, how does that feel? You want to find an approach that makes you go, hell yes, this is what I want to do. That's who I want to be. Something that feels inspiring. What is the mindset that can help you get through this in the best possible way, as if it was a challenge you had decided to give yourself? When we give ourselves challenges, we show up in a different way than if someone else imposed it on us. We feel more empowered, more motivated, we have more energy, and we're more resourceful. But no one says you can't do that even if it's not a challenge that you decided yourself. And maybe what you need is not just to go to okay and feel okay. Maybe what you need is more ambitious than that. You don't feel inspired just by okay. You need to double down on yourself. There's a quote that I really like. It's John Kabat-Zinn who says, you can't stop the waves, but you can learn how to surf. And it sounds like a cute little self-help quote, but it's actually more profound than that, because when you think about it, surfing is not just okay. It's not just, phew, I didn't drown. It is utilizing the power of the waves to get you up to a whole different speed than what you were able to do if there were no waves and you were just swimming in the water. When you surf, you utilize that power to go even further and even faster than you could on silent water. So basically, what you could interpret from this quote is that when the waters are high, when you are in a deep crisis or a very difficult situation in life, you have the possibility to not only survive, but to up-level yourself and grow into the next version of yourself. Not in spite of the crisis, but because of it. We humans grow through challenges and hard times, not through success and soft cuddles and candy floss. This is the confident mindset you want to have when life throws you a challenge that you didn't sign up for. I will figure this out. I will find a way to make the best out of this situation. I will use it to become an even better version of myself and go to an even better place in my life, even if I don't have all the answers right now. I will navigate this challenge one day at a time, and I will get out on the other side feeling stronger, wiser, and more empowered than before. One thing I know for sure is that if I had stayed in the victim mindset, I probably would have just taken a lot of painkillers and not done a lot of exercises and felt very depressed and sorry for myself. And maybe I would have limited myself a lot. And definitely, I would have been a pain in the ass for everyone around me. I would have complained a lot, which is almost with 100% certainty only making the situation worse, because we know with physical pain, it has a strong psychological component. So once we start complaining and talking about it and focusing on it and feeling that I am powerless, I'm a victim, usually we will experience the pain more intensely and we simply suffer more. So had I chosen the victim mindset, it would have been some even more horrible years. And I definitely wouldn't have been in such a great shape on the other side of the surgery because I wouldn't have wanted to do any exercises. And so I really feel I got some bonuses. I got some strategic byproducts from having chosen the mindset of becoming the expert in my own pain and figuring out how to manage that in the best possible way. And if I could go back to my past self and whisper something in her ears, I think I would say something like, "Hey girl, don't worry. Everything is going to be fine. It's going to be better than fine. It might become very dark and difficult before it turns around, but trust me, you will not be in pain for the rest of your life. So do your best every single day. Take care of yourself. You got this. I'll meet you in 2026 and I'll be waiting for you with a brand new pair of running shoes." And you could do the same if you are right now in a difficult situation. Try to imagine yourself 5 years from now, depending on what it is you're going through. Maybe you want to just do 1 year. But think of yourself in the future and imagine the best possible outcome. Go to your future self and see what she's doing in the best possible scenario. And then imagine what she would tell you if she could speak to you now. Get the wisdom and get the encouragement and then choose your mindset. Be the woman who overcomes challenges in an empowering and inspiring way, because you deserve that, and that's going to feel better for you and you're going to feel better on the other side as well. Now, if you need support through a difficult process or challenge that you are going through right now and that either you haven't chosen yourself or maybe you have chosen it but you feel stuck now and it's difficult and hard, then I would love to help you. Going through difficult times in life is something I have a lot of experience in, not only from the last 5 years, but many situations in my life. And I can help you go through this. You do not have to do this alone. You can get support and find a way that feels more inspiring and more empowering and gives you the strategic byproducts on the other side. Just click on the link in the show notes and let's talk. Thank you all for listening all the way to the end. I'll be back again next Thursday. Have a wonderful week. If you like what you're hearing on this podcast, I would be happy if you can give me a rating and a review and share the podcast with a friend. And if you now feel inspired to do this work and become a woman who fully believes in herself, then book a free call on the link in the show notes. I would love to talk to you.